I don't even know. I don't even know how to start this. It's noon Monday. The election's tonight. Sandy and I already voted. And I know that I've already lost subscribers because I'm anti-Trump. I'm anti-lunacy. I'm anti-stupidity. I'm anti-vacuous, moronic, self-serving, egotistical jackasses who... But that's irrelevant in this one. So, and again, it doesn't matter to me. If you are pro-Trump, like you think he's the second coming of Christ, stay or go, but don't announce your departure. I don't care. I'm here if you want me to be here. I'm here if you don't want me to be here. It matters not to me whether you're here or not. If you want to be here, I'd love to have you. Anyway, I've mentioned that before. But specifically for today, I'm on lunch, by the way, just in case anybody's for him. Specifically for today, this was blatantly obvious coming down the pipe, and we do not at all listen. We do not at all adhere to. We do not at all think about the lessons of history, and we're not talking ancient history. We're not talking historical stuff we learned in school. We're not even talking about history from decades ago. We're talking about January 6th. Was it 8th? Can't remember. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's happening in the States. The rhetoric right now, today, because with all the nuance of our Canadian federal election thing, that Trudeau stepped down, Carney took over and called for an election because that's what Pierre wanted for all these years and didn't bother showing up for the vote for that for the last 2 years, by the way, because he's a fatuous, vacuous hack, period. He is. The guy's scared of everybody, by the way. Anybody who's not a sycophant, he's scared of. He won't take answers. He ignores. He walks away from. The guy has no couth, honor, integrity at all. He's a mini Trump. And we've all said it. No, he's not. Yes, he is. But whatever. He's here to save Canada. It's absolute BS that he's here to save Canada. He has his own ego. It's bigger than Trump's in some regard. It's fatuous and vacuous, this guy. But anyway, for 2 years, he's been asking for an election. He's been trying to get votes of non-confidence passed in the legislature he's at least 3 times that I remember that he's tried, and he didn't bother showing up for the vote. He goes, he brings the thing to the floor, and we have to have a vote of confidence. And of course, because the NDP and the Liberals were in cahoots, conspiracy cahoots together, it never passed. And so he never got his day in the sun. But of course, he didn't show up for those votes. He didn't. It's such a mandate. We have to get rid of the libs. Those 10 lost liberal years. Okay, dude, we're all still here. Canada's still here. But whatever. You called for elections. You called for votes of non-confidence, and you didn't show up. You, Pierre, did not show up at all. You did not vote no for confidence. You asked for it. You didn't show up. You were out there politicking and pandering and sloganeering. 10 last years, cut the tax, axe the tax, whatever. You're a vacuous hack. Full stop. In my lifetime in Canada, I've never seen. I mean, I remember Rob Ford as forget that. This guy is like Aaron O'Toole and Andrew Scheer had their problems. They had their problems, and that's why they didn't win. At least they had the guise of elder statesmen. They had the guise of that. They were, again, fatuous hacks, but at least they had the guise of it. They tried to present themselves, and they seemed like nice guys when you talk to them. I've seen some interviews where they're actually candid, whatever. They didn't run away from the opposition, Pierre. They didn't micromanage their little spiels in front of people. They didn't kick people out like Trump did and like you did. Carry that person out. I don't like that question. Kick them out of here. Drag them out of here. It's 100% straight from the Donald Trump playbook. Get them out of here. oh, if something happens to them, I'll cover your lawyer bills. At least you didn't say that, Pierre, but you said everything else. But the piece de la resistance, and it's been building up for a couple of weeks now since Carney took over, and all of a sudden the vote. Because I'm going to be very, very clear about this. I knew Trudeau was going to lose. I don't know if he's going to lose his seat, but I knew he was going to lose. He wasn't going to be PM after this election, the next election, whatever it was supposed to be, next March or whatever. I don't know, whatever. Doesn't matter. He was going to lose because he lost the confidence of Canada. Now, whether or not that's deserving or not, it's irrelevant. But with the vacuous hacks out there, with not 24/7 nonstop yipping about how bad Justin was, he took a knee. He stepped out. Again, we can pontificate all we want about whether or not he was good or bad for Canada. I'm ambivalent towards whatever. He had some good points, he had lots of bad points, whatever, but in the end he was PM for 10 whatever years, and overall we're still here. He got us through the pandemic, he got us through some crises, whatever, and whatever. I think he'll go down in history as okay. Is he going to be his dad 100 years from now? Is he going to be venerated like his dad? Some people venerate his dad, and I didn't particularly care for his dad. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I knew going the last year that the Liberals were not going to have the majority government or even a minority government by the next election because of Canada having not rightly so, but Canada having an issue with Pierre. Justin, keep on getting those things, Justin. And I was okay. I wasn't okay with that, but I was accepting that because that's Canadians have views and they have whatever. And so whether justified or not, some of it was justified. Most of it wasn't. Most of it was hackery from Pierre. So Trudeau was going to lose, straight up. He was going to lose the majority or even minority status. Conservatives had riled up the base so much that we hate Liberals. We hate Justin. F Justin, which we'll get into in a sec. The flags show up everywhere, even during the clown voy. Don't even get me started. Vacuous hacks. So Justin was going to lose. And I, as a Canadian, think the Conservatives shouldn't be in power at this point because they're just a bunch of useless tools. And I can back that up because they're just in it for themselves and the rich people that got them there. But Justin was going to lose. And okay, he's going to lose, but I'm still going to vote Liberal right now. And this is coming from, I voted for every party out there because right now the CPC are just lost in the woods, even though they're making huge inroads everywhere. They're just vacuous hacks. So Justin was going to lose until he steps down, and Mark Carney, well, you never heard of him before. Are you kidding me? He worked with Stephen Harper. He worked with other prime ministers. He's world renowned as a PhD economist, but whatever. So Carney steps in, and all of a sudden the whole thing flips over again. Canada politics. The whole thing flips over. So now, right now, the Liberals are projected to win a majority. Now, whether or not that happens, I've heard predictions before, and the pontificators and the bolsters saying X, Y, and Z, and it's somewhere in there. And all of a sudden now, because when we all knew Justin was going to lose, it was, Pierre's going to win, he's going to save Canada, and blah, blah, blah. That's fine. Carney's going to win now. We have to overthrow the government. We are now talking about the insurrection that the States had just a few scant years ago. We have to overthrow. We have to kick the libs out of. We have to take back our country. And again, we've said this from the get-go, from Pierre's getting his claim to fame and his rise to power, that he was 100% stealing, line for line, point for point, idea for idea. Three-letter slogans, exactly the same playbook as Donald Trump. Make Canada great again. Okay, that's 4 words. Make Canada great again. When weren't we great, Pierre? When were we not great? Oh, but all the homeless. Yeah, and you're blaming. Okay, the government should be able to. Understood. Government has abilities to take, but you think this is the Liberals' fault? This has been building for generations now, where we have to kowtow and pander to cut taxes for the ultra rich so they can go buy their $500 million yachts instead of investing into our infrastructure, in our socialism, into our education, into our healthcare, into taking care of people. You want to know what got us through the pandemic? Pierre and your likely cronies who don't get this at all. Oh, you do not know anybody in the medical profession at all if you say that the whole pandemic was a false flag or fake news or whatever. You have no concept, no appreciation, no moral integrity at all if you say that pandemic was just nothing, was a nothing burger. You have no, people, entire old age homes were wiped out, minus 1 or 2 people. Oh, we couldn't have a funeral for grandma because she died and we couldn't be in the room together. I was at a funeral. There was it was different than other funerals. We couldn't mingle, but I was at a funeral during the pandemic, so don't bullshit me saying we couldn't have one. I was at one for my neighbor. Wonderful lady. Wonderful, I get misty about it. Wonderful, wonderful, kind lady. So don't even come at me, bro. Don't even come at me. You will get nowhere. You have no appreciation of society. You have no appreciation of citizenship. You have no appreciation of the people around you. You're a malcontent. The clown boy was malcontent, pure and simple. We're here for freedom. It's bullshit, but anyway. I'm going off in tangents again because I'm getting riled up. So now that Carney is destined to win, possibly, probably, and with a majority, because it looks like the NDP are completely falling apart. Now that Carney's good. I'm so riled up again. Now that Carney's projected to win, and all of a sudden, take back Canada. We have to fight. We have to get together. We have to have an insurrection. And if you don't see this isn't going back to the 18th century. This isn't going back to ancient times. This is from a few years back. Insurrection. Do you want to know why I love Canada? I mean, I have many reasons why I love Canada. But you want to know why I appreciated Canada for one specific part of our political system? Is that Canada evolved into becoming a country without one shot being fired. Not one shot was fired to create Canada. The Americans down there, they venerate the guns. And again, if Pierre gets in, he's right. I have to get in because they're going to come for your guns. They're not coming for Hunter's guns, you stupid blathering. They're coming for the assault rifles. The things that cause harm to society. I have people, my friends, who hunt. Nobody's coming for their guns, literally at all. But anyway, forget that. Canada evolved into a country a scant 90 years after the American Revolution. Now again, I talked about this before. I'm not saying that the American Revolution was bad in 1776. I'm not. They believed they had God on their side. They believed that this was justified by the king taxation without representation, whatever. But so it was at that time perhaps the best of all options, and they had a revolution. Shots fired. British American. It was mostly skirmishes, but whatever. It was done, and they become a country. All of a sudden, you have America, no longer part of the British Empire. 13 colonies, fantastic. What happened after that was why we are where we are now, is that they venerated, they uplifted, they beholden of the wonderful forefathers who did all this wonderful stuff that got us out of the boot of oppression, and the British monarchy and King George and blah blah, and we threw off our shackles with guns, and we took over our own destiny, our manifest destiny. Fine, you did. Have a cookie. It's fantastic. I again, looking back at it in history, 1776, I couldn't think of anything else you could have done at the time. But at that time, as history shows, the entire British Empire was falling apart because it was that big, and you don't have cell phones. You cannot keep an entire empire together across the planet with sailing boats that take 3 months to get there to deliver orders. It doesn't work that way. So the British Empire was already failing. I'm not going to liken this to the same concept of Japan in World War II did the bombs against. I'm not going to get into pro or con dropping nuclear bombs on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, because I wasn't there. There was people dying in trenches and wherever. There was a war going on, and they had to stop. But sober second thought, and with the colored of being able to look back in history, the Japanese were not able to keep on pushing out a cohesive fighting force. That's what we learned afterwards. Did we know at the time? Maybe. I don't know. Did it save lives? Possibly. Shortened the war? Absolutely. Shortened the war. And so are we saying drop a bomb and end the war? I don't think so. But anyway, the British Empire was failing just like the Japanese Empire was failing at the end of the war. And so had you waited it out, who knows what might have happened. But again, revolution, sure. All things as they are at the time, but is a revolution needed today? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And so all these people who are so incited and incensed by Pierre for the last bunch of years, where he showed up and did nothing. He's been sitting in politics since he was an adult. He was a paper boy and started working for the Conservative Party of Canada back decades ago. And that's all he's ever done since he was a paper boy. He's never had a job. He's been in politics. And it looks like he got hand-chosen by external influences to be the leader. But whatever, I'm not even worried about that part. Conspiracy. I'm not even worried about that. He is the leader of the Conservative Party, and he's been asking, he's been demanding, he's been petulantly stomping his feet since he became party leader that the Liberals have to go. They have to go. They're bad for Canada. The last 10 years, the Liberals, bad, so bad that they want to kill the Liberals. He's been inciting his people so much. Revolution. And yet, on top of which, again, to talk about the hackery of this doofus down there, this doofus that's flying across the country in our tax dollar, this doofus who is a coward, by the way. I'm going to keep on mentioning that. He's an absolute coward. I'll take him on anytime. I'll sit in front of Parliament right now, today, and I'll bring up all the things that he cannot answer for. He can't answer for. He's avoided, he's dodged, he's absolutely obfuscated. He's done nothing for 20 years. What has he done? Oh, he brought in a TSFA. No, he didn't. That was already on the books. And he just stood up and took credit. He's one of these people who just takes credit for whatever is good and deflects anything that's bad. That's not a prime minister. That is absolutely not prime minister material. Take credit for all that's good. Oh, the clown boy. Oh, that's great. Look at me. I'm giving donuts to the clown boy. I brought in a TFSA. No, you didn't, dude. You did. Your name's not even on it. You stood up and took credit for it. It was already being talked about years before you even got involved. But whatever, even if in 20 years he brought in a TFSA, an absolute hack. He's an absolute, and again, I'm not inciting people. I don't want somebody to go punch him in the nose. Do not attack anybody physically, ever. It's a complete and utter waste of time. It's the Hatfields and McCoys. It doesn't matter who threw the first punch. All of a sudden you're in a fight for your life. That's my nuance. I will never, I'm not necessarily a pacifist. I will step up, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I will step up when needed, but that'll be my determination, not some vacuous hack that's running for his little ego. But anyway, so all of a sudden you just go through all the TikToks, you go through all the Facebooks, you go through all these, and they could be bots. They absolutely 100% can be bots. There can be a lot of bots out there, but there are people I know, friend of friend, who all forget the I'm leaving Canada if the Liberals win. Forget that one, because they're not. I can guarantee, I have money in my pocket. I can guarantee these people who are saying I'm going to leave Canada if the Liberals win this election, they're not going. And if you are going, I'll help you pack your bags. But they're not going. I remember this a bunch of years back, even before whatever. I think it was I don't know if it was Bush 1 or 2. I think it was Bush 2. Against Gore, I think it was. If Gore wins, I'm packing up and leaving the country. And a lot of politicians says, I'll help. So again, rhetoric. If this person wins, I'm leaving. Okay. Nobody's I'll hold the door open for you, but you don't have to announce your departure. It's not an airport. You do what's good for you. If you think leaving is the best for you, then go ahead and leave. You don't have to tell the rest of the world that you're leaving if this person that you don't like wins. I did not say I'm leaving the country when Harper won. And again, I didn't hate Harper. I don't hate, besides Pierre, I didn't hate Harper at all. There was a few moments of his tenure as Prime Minister where this guy's got something behind him. He's got something behind him, and he did stuff. Whether in the long run that was good or bad for Canada, he actually did stuff for Canada. Though he thought, and again, history will tell if it's bad or good. What has Pierre done? 20 years plus in politics. What has he done besides incite hatred and violence in his people? Again, stealing straight from the Trump handbook, stealing straight from Donald Trump, who sat there watching on TV the insurrection while Americans died, and their entire Capitol building got overrun by malcontents and ne'er-do-wells. I cannot specify. When I say malcontent, I mean the absolute worst, depraved, unjustified, the worst people on the planet. Malcontents. Right up there with people who talk in the theater and child molesters. That's a quote. Deep cut. People who talk during movies. Malcontents. Absolute malcontents. And now I just cannot go through my Facebook. I cannot go through on the Twitter. I cannot go through my TikToks without reading these people. We have to overthrow the Liberals if they win. We have to fight back. We have to run on the Parliament. We have to throw these people out on a rail. We have to throw them out of the country. That's where we are. These people are demanding that if the Liberals win, they get thrown out of the country. We have to take our country back. Make Canada great again. If you can't even see that this is identical, except for the word Canada, as to what the U.S. was doing just a scant few years ago, and look at that mess. We're Canadians. We are better than that. We are better than that. And I'm going to be better than that, by the way. I'm not, if again, by whatever chance, and the pollsters are 100% wrong, and Pierre actually becomes Prime Minister, okay, Pierre, let's see what you got. And I'll fight with my vote, and I'll fight with my talking to my local MP to make a better country and have better representation for the next election. Because again, up until Carney, I didn't want to vote for any of these people. I voted for NDP before. Not necessarily late recently, but I voted for NDP before. Jagmeet, nice guy, lost his party. Absolutely lost his party. You lost Canada, and the PPC. Why are you even bothering? The guy has whatever. Blanchette, okay, but he's only for Quebec. That's the only thing. The reason why he's on the stage is because he wants. There's nobody outside Quebec voting for him. But we have to, whatever, and that's part of our system. The unique society, the distinct society, and sure. And again, I have no problem with that. A lot of people do. Oh, why do they get special representation? They get as many seats as anybody else gets. So if you don't want the bloc to be there, go run against them. So bring something to the discussion that would make Quebecers want to vote for you. Tonight's going to be a disaster, and I'm not going to watch. Well, probably watch the news. It's going to be a disaster, but I can guarantee that Pierre is going to be still a vacuous, fatuous, malcontently, 100% across the board. He's going to sloganeer 10 lost years. He's going to sloganeer cut the tax, axe attack. He's going to sloganeer coming for your guns. Whatever he can throw against the wall. And that's this whole thing. Yeah, a reporter asked him if what you can look it up. Are you going to accept the results of this election if the Liberals win? And he didn't answer that at all. He completely dodged it. His first words out of his mouth were 10 lost Liberal years. That's not the question, you doofus. I'll take you on. I have a poli-sci minor from 30 years ago. I'll take you on tomorrow, you vacuous hack. You're an absolute, I'm calling you out, Pierre. You are the worst in my lifetime. In my lifetime for Canada, for Canadian politics. And this is what we even knew Rob Ford. Because again, he had some redeeming qualities. You have none. You have zero redeeming qualities as a person of integrity, as a politician, as a leader. You have none. You've learned to incite. You've learned to control the playground of 5-year-olds. That's what you've learned to do. You've learned how to incite people. There's no empathy. It's apathy. There's no encouragement of intelligence. It's low information. There's no appreciation of history. It's let's incite the people. There's absolutely no appreciation of truth. It's lies and deceit, and just changing it so you get to look good to the public. It is. I'm just in awe. I'm absolutely in awe. It's just how did we get here? How did we become Americans? How is this vote almost identical to what happened a few years back in America? I'm literally in awe, and I'm seriously concerned. Although my better nature says we're Canadian, fundamentally we're Canadian, but the clown voice showed me that we're not. The clown voice straight up showed that we have lost our appreciation for society. We've lost our appreciation for good governance and appreciation of our fellow person. We have lost all of that by the clown boy and by this entire election cycle. Because of Pierre. We are not Canadian at this point in that sense, because it's hateful, it's resentful, it's petulant. It's 100% petulant, by the way. Petulant means that there's no basis for it. There is no basis for this. There's no basis for this hatred, Pierre. Whether or not you agreed to his policies, people voted for him, and he was here for 10 years, and they weren't lost. I've been living through them. You've been living through them in the biggest mansion for politicians, bigger than what Justin was living in, getting more money than what Justin was getting for expenses, and yet here you are, shaking your fist at the wind, and inciting everybody else to come with you. And so all of a sudden, no matter what you say, the Liberals are bad. I don't think Conservatives are bad. I met a really nice guy yesterday. He's voting Conservative. We had a nice chat about it. There was no hatred. There was no animosity. There was nothing like that. My entire life, I've mentioned this numerous times, that my family is very involved in politics growing up. And they would sit around the kitchen table and discuss the issues of the day and staunch dippers, which was my dad for almost every election previous, by the way. And this one, guess who he's voting for? A Liberal. You want to know why, Pierre? Because he wants to stop you. My dad, who is a lifelong political advocate of good governance and was an NDP voter for so many years, is changing his vote for this election only, hopefully, because he's got to stop you. And if my dad, who is read up on all this stuff, more than me, and can see which way the wind's blowing, one of the most astute observations of society, he lived through a frickin' war. he knows which way the wind's blowing, and he's voting Liberal. Pierre, you made my dad vote for a party he's never voted for before. Because of who you are. Because of who you are. Because of you, Pierre. Not your party. Although the party sucks. The progressive Conservatives are long gone. The loyal opposition, the grand old party, not going to go but the liberal, the loyal opposition. You could have been that. You could have been the loyal opposition, which means that you stand up for Canada, not your ego, not your rich cronies, not your satiating your insightful rhetoric for your people who are going to follow you into hell and back. 100% ego stroking. You could have been there for Canada, but you were not. You were there for you. Everything I've seen about you, everything I read about you, every time I see you on TV, it's a visceral response to you, Pierre. Not your party, it's to you. This is a response to you, you feckless coward. You turned reporters away that don't agree with you. You took the easy questions from Rebel News and Canada North, because that's because you're feeding them right into your base. You know what you should have done? You should have talked. You should have sat down with. You should have talked to the global reporters, the CTV reporters, the CBC reporters, like all of them. You should have talked to all of them as long as they wanted to talk and made your case. I'm going to reference again the States because whatever. You watched The West Wing, and what Alan Alda did for his character is he never hid. He never hid as a Republican candidate. He never hid from the people who disagreed with him. I know it's a fantasy show. But it can actually, I've seen politicians. Justin Trudeau never hid from anybody. He never hid from anybody, Pierre, and you're hiding from anybody who disagrees with you. Hide again, buddy. Hide again. Even when you're prime minister, I can guarantee you're going to be hiding. You're not going to be sitting in front of the cameras taking the hits like Justin did. You're not. I can guarantee it because you're a coward, straight up. Yes, it's name calling, but it's true. When it's 100% factual, it is what it is. My lunchtime's done. I wanted to say that. And whatever happens tonight, bottom line, the most important election of our lifetimes. Yes, it is. So far. But so was the last one back then. The most important election of our lifetimes. I can guarantee this with money in my pocket that tomorrow morning, the sun's still going to come up. It's going to come up. I can guarantee I'm going to drive to work tomorrow. I can guarantee that. If I can't, then I owe a lot of people money. But I can guarantee that whatever happens, again, I'm going to use the example of me living in Ontario, literally my entire life, that even as a little kid, I heard, oh, if that guy becomes premier, it's going to be the end of Ontario. It's going to be the end of Ontario. It's going to be the worst thing that ever happened in Canada. I heard that every election cycle for this province, and every single time NDP, Conservative, Liberal, Conservative, NDP, every single time, Ontario's still here. It really is. So all these people who keep on saying it's the end of Canada, if whatever party gets in, that's also disingenuous rhetoric. Now, we do have that added issue, and I'll be the first to say it, that the 51st state crap, fatuousness from the El Oranjo down in the States, but then he's just a fatuous hack anyway, that we do have that to worry about, and it is a concern, but it's not a huge concern. The world is on our side. It really is. Anyway, that's it. That's all. All the best for whoever wins. Represent Canada the best you can. Represent all of Canada the best you can, not just the people who gave you tons of millions of dollars to represent them. Take care of Canada. We're trusting you with it, whoever wins. We're trusting you with our country, my country. I was born here. I was born right down the street there. And all the people who even showed up last week and took their citizenship, they're Canadians too. Don't ever forget that. Most of us, 99.999% of us, came in from other countries before. We all have ancestors who emigrated here. So take care of Canada and Canadians. Whatever happens tomorrow, take care of Canada. Pierre won't. So that's it. That's all. Long and prosper. Talk to you soon.